challenges that I face, Manulife was always there.
Wow, interesting. You know, life is not the amount of breath you take, but it's always the moment that takes your breath away. And that's one.
Yes, yes.
To be able to process it and live it. I think that explains why you're on this platform. To tell them that it really makes a difference, not just on other people, but personally.
Personally, yes, personally.
Talk about making a difference, and I did a little research ask around. You made an impact on your father. Tell us more about it.
Yeah. So to speak about my challenges too. So since I came from a retail industry, my very first challenge was having no sales background, and of course I don't have that much network to talk to or to invite to join Manulife to get a policy. And that was my very first challenge. And with that one, sir, you mentioned, the second big challenge happened was 2020, wherein my dad was diagnosed with laryngeal cancer. That was really pandemic. And when I read the biopsy, because I was the one accompanying my dad, like the world started to fall around, because we didn't really expect that it started with somehow pagaw, we call it pagaw, and later did we know that it was already a carcinoma in situ and progressed to stage 3 cancer. The thing there was, I was still fresh in joining Manulife full-time, and I don't have that much income yet, because I joined Manulife full-time 2020 of February, and lockdown came in. And later on, that was also the time that my dad was diagnosed with cancer. And to the point that to fund this medication, I really have to work hard, because imagine we came in back and forth from the hospital, particular perpetual soccer, 500,000 billing, 600,000, because cancer is really costly. And that was also the time that we really realized that preparing for that particular illness is really a must. And preparing, because we didn't really know when that particular illness or critical illness would strike us. And with that, it made me realize na I really have to use this story of my dad to spread to every people that have to encounter to, that it's very a must to safeguard your hard-earned savings, and it's really a must for you to medicate or for you to live long. It's really a must to have that particular emergency fund, a medical fund, once you will reach particularly in your senior years. So that's a very big challenge, but unfortunately, my dad lost his battle last 2 years ago, and that was so hard because we did our very best to medicate his cancer, but he lost it. And another thing, the third one challenge that I was encountered 2 years ago was writing our very first claim with Manulife. And my very first claim, just to share with you, is out of 500 clients that I had last 2 years, was really my dad. That was sad, but we really have to accept that life is really short, and I'm pretty sure my dad was also happy in heaven because we did our best. But what's good thing with that is we incurred a lot of debts for sure, because once again, I mentioned a while ago that more than half a million was our billing. But with the policy that we set up with my dad, we were able to pay all the debts that incurred with this cancer. And that's how amazing Manulife was. That is why I told myself, like, Manulife really changed our lives to 360 degrees, from the alluring benefits and from the benefits that we got basically from the policy of my dad.
Very interesting story. Thank you for sharing your hearts out to us. And it's true, no? I mean, that's a story that's going to be shared multiple times and will bring dividends. And the beauty about it is because it's not just a story of an agent. It's real. It's real. And I'm sure, no amount of money will bring our loved ones back to life, no matter how big it is. But the dignity it will do for the family, I'm sure those who are gone will be happy where they are. And Rhea, I noticed that it says here you have 500 lives saved, or 50 something, 50, awarded 50. Tell us more about it. Like, what's so significant about 50 lives or 50 case counts?
Yeah. I am.
You're known to MDRT or something.
Want to hear about the lives?
The 50
let's
lives,
say,
like
the 50 lives. So, some are not familiar yet with our terms. So 50 lives are basically 50 cases, 50 policies that I have issued. So, yeah, one big case is good, why not? But me, touching lives, that makes it really more meaningful for me, ma'am, which is, yeah, I talk to as many people as I can, and I know that the lives that I touch is not just my clients, but it will ripple down to their family members as well.
Yeah, because certainly, if I will do the math, there's only 42 weeks a year, right? So if you did 50 lives, in short, you insure one a week. Now that's a very significant. Let's give her a big hand. I'm sure, you know, making sure someone is safe this week, you're a superwoman, you know, and all of you are. And I'm sure in terms of monetary, you know, your lifestyle will speak for it. But let's talk about travel, because it was made mentioned earlier. And just quickly, like how many countries have you traveled so far because you're in this industry?
I cannot count, but I'm pretty sure it's more than 20.
More than 20?
More than 20, or more than 30 countries.
30 countries. How about you?
I've traveled 6, and there's coming 6 more this year.
Wow, a total of 12. Since you started when you're 22 in 2016. And how about you, Ms. Rhea? Travel so far.
I have availed 2 international travels and 1 domestic that was in Palisade, and I'll be traveling 3 for this year.
Wow. And again, mind you, these travels for free, right?
Are for free.
Are for free. And when you go to these travels, are like, what is it like? What is it like when you travel in Manulife?
It's fun. It's
You
fun.
get
and it's
to
for
be
free.
lived in a very fancy hotel. Just share your experience of travel, just a little bit.
We get to stay in the 5-star hotel, and it's expense-free for Manulife and with pocket money.
That's interesting.
So for me, that's one of the perks that Manulife is giving out, the free travel.
So there's no piso fare.
No piso fare.
No piso fare, no piso fare. Walang makaka-relate dyan. How about you, Mr. Joe? Any travels you'd like to share? Like, what was the most interesting travel so far you did with Manulife?
Yeah, with Manulife, as mentioned in the share map, like it really teach you to invest in good luggage because again, you will be traveling a lot, locally and internationally, and it will teach you also to really weigh in your baggages because international airlines are really strict about luggages, and somehow it will also because you'll be traveling to Seoul, Korea, Japan, and they're fond of using chopsticks, and you'll be taught on how to use it because that's only in Manulife that I was able to really learn on how to use it. So, and of course, it will also teach you on how to somehow strike a pose because of course they will bring you to a lot of very magnificent places, very good attractions, and of course you really have to strike a good pose for it because we are in the digital information age, so Facebook, social medias are on the verge of just the tip of our finger. So basically,
It's
that's
like
it.
what Mr. Velosa say, Bulgogi always looks better in Korea. Right? Yeah. So, okay. I think we're pressing time, so just it's okay. All right. So I just wanted to just touch this real quick because if there's one thing that all of you have in common is that you are all members of this thing called $1 Million Round Table. And I did research. $1 Million Round Table, ladies and gentlemen, are basically 2% of the entire sales force in the world. So these are the cream of the crop. You guys are top notch when it comes to that. And what does Miss Carole, by the way, is not just an MDRT, but a quart of the table, which means that's 3 times higher than MDRT. What does it mean then? What does it mean to be MDRT? And is it something that just a regular Joe like me could do? Well, what does it take to be an MDRT? Like, what do I need to become an MDRT? Because an MDRT, ladies and gentlemen, means you earn an average of 6-figure income. That's one. And then when you have that title, it also gives you so many perks and travels and all that. So how do you become an MDRT? Like how? I'm pretty sure, Rhea, you were an MDRT last year. What happened?
Okay, ma'am. It's how to become an MDRT. There's actually 2 answers to that. I think technically are the figures. Okay, and I don't want to get into the details. Seeing again as many lives, as many people every day. So technically, that seeing and closing clients, and the other side of being an MDRT is really more on the attitude. Okay. For one, it's believing in your product and believing in your company and believing on why you are actually here. So, is it okay, Mac, if I can just share a little bit? I'm a strong believer of insurance already. So as a matter of fact, I've already, in connection lang to MDRT, Mac, I already had 3 policies when I joined Manulife. So, but if I can backtrack you a little bit, if it's okay with you, 24 years ago, is that okay? Can you go with me 24 years ago? Yes. Okay, 24 years ago when I was 23, okay. To be exact, October 30, 1999, that was, I was a very young wife, and I have a 5-month-old baby, okay. And coming from the office, I got home and then I got a call from my brother-in-law. And then he said, Yan, you need to proceed to St. Vincent Hospital. Why? Because that's where they brought my husband due to vomiting. It's kind of odd because vomiting and then in the hospital already. It's odd because I just spoke with him an hour ago before I left the office. Cut the story long, I got widowed at the age of 23. And he was only 24. And that was aneurysm. It was an awful, painful circumstance for everybody because we did not expect it. And yeah, in connection to MDRT. Actually, at that very moment, I realized na what will happen to my daughter. Ano pa? So, at that very moment, Mr. Art Avenido invited me over. And actually,
and deep
wala
down
pa.
inside, you knew that there's...
At that very moment, I got a policy. So it was not hard sell for me because I already believe in the idea. But still selling the business, I did not. But after 12 years, just like you, I was seated. It was still in a classroom time. And I was listening to the 8-time MDRT, Miss Gigi Abu. I'm sure she's around. So she was sharing. Where are you, G?
Yeah.
Oh, you're there.
Yeah.
So I was listening to you, and she was sharing about her first death claim with a client. Sadly, it was a suicide case. That was very vivid, G. And I was crying. I was literally moved by the impact of it to the surviving mother. And I said to myself, that's exactly what I wanted to do. That's exactly what I wanted to do in my life. To touch somebody else's life in a deeper and a more meaningful sense. And when I was seated there, Mr. Art Avenido did not have to sell the business to me. I never turned back. And
Wow.
that was one of the best decisions of my life.
And I thank you for sharing.